So 9 mountaintop finishes. This is by far the hilliest of the 3 Grand Tours. 62,000 meters of elevation. Compare that to this year's Tour de France, which was extremely hard. It was 53,000 meters, so almost 10,000 meters more of vertical. And the Giro was 46,000 meters. So the Vuelta is brutal.
Everybody, welcome back to The Move. We are previewing the Vuelta a España, which starts tomorrow in Portugal, in Lisbon, with a time trial, 21 stages, just like the Giro d'Italia and Tour de France. 2 time trials, a lot of summit finishes, extremely hard course, 62,000 meters of elevation gain. I'm here with George Hincapie and Johan Bruyneel. I'm Spencer Martin. We will get into the nitty-gritty of this race. But first, Johan, do you want to talk about a partner we have?
Yeah, I want to talk about our partner Ventum. Ventum Trivia is back. So we do 4 episodes for the Vuelta, this preview, and then a weekly recap. So every show, our members can go to ventumracing.com/themove and submit their answer. For today, the question for our listeners is, there's 3 athletes who won the Vuelta 3 times. Alberto Contador, Tony Rominger, and Primož Roglič. Which rider, the only rider, won the Vuelta 4 times? George, I think you know the answer. So sign into ventumracing.com/themove. Don't email us, but submit your answer there. At the end of the 4 shows, at the end of the Vuelta, Ventum will give away a brand new GS1, the gravel bike, built with Apex. It's a great bike. I'm actually, right now, I'm in Mallorca riding a little bit with my son. I'm on a GS1, put in the road wheels. Very comfortable bike. It serves a lot of purposes. You can gravel, road, wherever you want to go, it brings you. So Ventum is our partner for this show. Direct to consumer, great customer service, I have to say. For me, and George and Spencer, you guys are Ventum riders, so I think we all have the same experience. For me, it's the brand that the box comes to your house and literally within 30 minutes, you are on that bike on the road. It's that simple. There's 2 or 3 things that you have to build. Our members, our listeners can also get 20% off all Ventum bikes during the Vuelta. Go to ventumracing.com and use the code THEMOVE20 at checkout for 20% off on all the Ventum bikes.
Yeah, on Ventum, great bike, Johan. As you say, I just took mine to France for 2 months. It rides fantastic. The most important thing, though, is it looks really good. Got me out of a jam. Night of the Euro Championships, I was on a ride at a crosswalk, along 20 youths coming by, kind of a phobia of youths of soccer ruffians, and I'm thinking, oh man, this could get dicey. I'm here in Lycra with the bike. These kids are going to hassle me. They all start kind of coming around me. I was like, oh no, this isn't going to go well. And then they're looking at the bike, and one's like, "Vous vélo est magnificent." I was like, oh, they like the bike. So then they gave me a fist bump, and I rode off. So if you are going to get a Ventum for anything, just get it to get out of jams with rough soccer youths at like 8 p.m. But Johan, we're here talking about the Vuelta a España. George, you have plenty of experience with this. Johan, you as well. You live in Spain, Johan, so you're going to know the route extremely well. 21 stages. Do you want to walk us through some of the highlights, starting with tomorrow's short and flat, I guess, hopefully straightforward time trial?
Yeah, well, it's
Go ahead,
George.
I was just going to say real quick that I don't actually have that much experience with the Vuelta. I've only done it 2 times. One time in 1995, where I was first year pro, and I just suffered 1,000 deaths every day. And my biggest nightmare was when Johan Bruyneel was at the front with his team of yellow Once riders, just crushing us every day. But you know what? Finishing a race like that as a young kid really helps bring you to the next level. And we'll see that even this year. A lot of the young riders that don't do the Giro, don't do the Tour, end up going to the Vuelta because it's a really good it lays a very good foundation for the next season, and it helps out a young rider progress to the next level. I think if you can finish a Grand Tour, no matter how much you suffer, getting through it will make you stronger for the next season. So I think some of these teams will probably use some of their young riders for that as well.
Yeah. But the course, and it's the third Grand Tour of the season, starts in Lisbon. I think that makes, did the Giro start in Italy?
I've already forgotten. I think it started in Italy, right? It was in Torino.
It did. Yes, it did. Anyway, starting in Lisbon, second time that the Vuelta starts in Lisbon, finishes in Madrid with a time trial, very unusual. But starting with a 12-kilometer time trial, that's really good.
At night also, right, Johan?
Well,
usually it's late, so let's hope they calculate it well this time.
Last year it was after dark. Oops.
Well, I mean, and talk about that, doing a 12-kilometer full gas prologue at night. Like these guys, the favorites, like they're not sleeping. Although the Vuelta always has really late starts, so it might not matter, but they're going to go to bed really late.
It does finish at, I think, 7:30 p.m. local time. So they've learned their lesson from last year.
Yeah.
Good. But so 9 mountaintop finishes. This is by far the hilliest of the 3 Grand Tours. 62,000 meters of elevation. Compare that to this year's Tour de France, which was extremely hard, was 53,000 meters. So almost 10,000 meters more of vertical. And the Giro was 46,000 meters. So the Vuelta is brutal. 9 mountaintop finishes.
Break that down, Johan. Almost 10,000 meters more vertical. That's a hard day in any Grand Tour is 3,000, 3,500. So that's like 3 more days of vertical climbing, which is mind-boggling.
It's 3 extra mountain stages,
Yeah,
I mean, two big mountain stages are 5,000. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I think it also that's one of the reasons why there's almost no sprinters at this race, because there's almost no opportunities. 9 mountaintop finishes, and especially very similar to the Tour de France this year. The last 3 days are going to be decisive because there's 2 really big mountain stages on Friday and Saturday, and then a final time trial in Madrid. So it's going to be suspense until the end, or it should be, unless somebody's really dominating and the race is over. Right, but I don't expect this to be the case.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm particularly very excited about Sepp Kuss coming into his first Grand Tour as a designated leader, where we'll see this team hopefully fighting for position for him, and he'll have that pressure. Yes, he won the Vuelta last year. Yes, he's had an amazing career, one of the best teammates, if not the best teammate in the Pro Peloton currently. But this is his first time where he's going into a Grand Tour as the designated leader. And, as a rider for him, that's a big step. It's a big learning curve. And I'm very excited to see how he's going to react. I think he's going to have a great Vuelta. So it should be fun to watch that.
I think in the case of Sepp Kuss, he had a difficult season for, a number of reasons. But, when you come into form at the right moment and at the Vuelta, physically, he must be full of energy, full of reserves. Mentally, he's fresh, and he is the sole leader, as you just said. So I think that's a huge advantage. Very strong team around him. And on top of that, he has the advantage that he is not the real number 1 favorite. Those are other guys. So I expect Sepp Kuss. I mean, he just comes fresh off winning the Tour of Burgos, which is of course a good indication of his current form. So very excited to see him. And this is an ideal course for him. The time trials are not extremely long. The first time trial is 12 kilometers, and the last time was 24 kilometers. So very excited to see him taking the leadership of Visma-Leasebike.
And like you mentioned, Johan, he's relatively fresh. He hasn't had a great season this year because of illnesses, crashes, missed out on the tour. But I actually, like my son asked me the other day, he's like, "Dad, does anybody do all 3 Grand Tours?" And you know what? We all I forgot. Sepp not only did he do all 3 Grand Tours, but he was like the guy for the Giro, the guy for the Tour de France, and then wins the Tour of Spain. So his recovery capabilities are, some of the best in the entire world. So going into the Vuelta with a recent stage win in Burgos, all of his health issues behind him. Yeah, I think he's coming in with a confident role for sure.
And also you have to, it puts a bit of pressure on Sepp Kuss, but Visma-Leasebike until now, they didn't have a great season compared to, I mean, it was impossible to do better than last year, right? They won all 3 Grand Tours. But this year it's kind of the opposite. They didn't win a single Grand Tour. They didn't win a single big race, like a monument or anything. They had a lot of bad luck, of course, also. But this could basically be the season saver for Visma Lease a Bike if Sepp Kuss shows up in great condition and can pull it off.
Well, yeah. I don't want to be a downer, but just to pour some cold water on this. The main contenders, at least in my opinion, Primož Roglič, I think he should be the favorite. We don't really, but this is how it happens every year, right? He crashes out of the Tour. Oh, does he have a broken back? There's always like rumors of some sort of spinal fracture or vertebrae fracture floating around, and he shows up and he's amazing at the Vuelta. Red Bull Bora, I would say he's the favorite. Adam Yates, Joao Almeida on UAE, pretty good duo. If you watch the Tour of Swiss, you could imagine them doing pretty well here. And then where it gets really tricky for Sepp Kuss, Alexander Vlasov and Danny Martinez also both on Red Bull Bora. So that means Red Bull Bora has 3 potential overall winners. And then you have, probably like in the tier below, Mika Landa, Enric Mas, Sepp Kuss, Carlos Rodriguez. Just walk me through, if Sepp Kuss wins this race, Johan and George, how does he do it? Like, is he winning out of these GC groups? I believe before the Vuelta of Burgos this year, he had never won a race, a mountain stage from a GC group before in his career. So I'd imagine he'd have to do that multiple times to win this Vuelta. Do you think he can do it?
I think he can. The Vuelta is special, man. The Vuelta is special. As you say, we don't know how Roglič is going to show up. We know that Sepp Kuss is already in great shape. Let's not forget, the Vuelta, stage 4 is already an uphill finish on a Cat 1 climb. So it's not like you can ride into the first week and say, okay, I'll see how I feel. So you have to be on top of your game straight away, and you need to keep it that until the end. So I think, anyway, we have to consider Roglič as the favorite. He's shown up already sometimes at the Vuelta. We didn't know how he was. He's a great rider. But I don't see any reason why Sepp Kuss wouldn't be able to win this.
Yeah, I mean, he is coming in with, as defending champion. There's a much bigger sort of pressure on him this year because he did win it last year and he's got the whole team behind him. He's in a good position, but I mean, like you said, a guy like Primož Roglič, who probably has an axe to grind after that crash in the Tour de France. He usually recovers well from crashes. We've seen him do it every year after year. Unfortunately, he always seems to be crashing the Tour. And the team behind him with Vlasov, Danny Martinez, who got second in the Giro, one of the best climbers. Both of those guys are some of the best climbers in the world. I mean, that's the hit squad, of course. And then, of course, you got UAE with Almeida, McNulty, Del Toro. It's going to be fun to see how he reacts. But Almeida starting in Portugal, good time trialist as well. I mean, who knows if he can beat the likes of Tarlin and all that, but he's had a great year as well. I think this is a very exciting Grand Tour coming up. Mika Landa, you mentioned Spencer as being like a tier 2, tier 3 guy. He got 5th place in the Tour de France while working for Remco. Spanish guy, a lot of motivation. He's not a worker. The guy does not know how to work for somebody else, and he put it all on the line for Remco. I think he's coming in with huge motivation, huge form. I think there's going to be maybe some surprises, and I'm excited about it.
And also, George, not to forget Carapaz. Carapaz finished the Tour in amazing shape. If he has been able to maintain that shape, I think he's somebody to take into account. Was already second in the Vuelta, won the Giro, was 3rd in the Tour. Has obviously something to prove after his non-selection for the Olympics. He's going to be super motivated. I think we have to take him into consideration as being one of the contenders too.
I agree.
Still a GC rider though, or does he transition fully to stage hunter? Because the last race in Europe, at least, where he did well in the GC was, I'm still scrolling through. I believe it was the 2022 Giro d'Italia, where he got second.
I mean, it's not bad. Second in the Giro, and the year before he was and the year before he was 3rd in the Tour.
Yeah.
Yes, but is that a different Richard Carapaz? Are we? And that was on a different team.
It really just depends. He finished the Tour obviously very strong, so he's going to be able to. He's got that form behind him. He probably didn't even have to train that much since the Tour de France and just kind of maintain that fitness. And if he goes in with that fitness and is totally recovered from the Tour, I mean, you could dig super deep after a successful Grand Tour. And he's got the experience in Grand Tours. When he got second place in the Vuelta, I mean, it was basically came down to the wire against Roglič. He almost won the damn thing. So I agree with Johan. He's definitely an outside contender.
I mean, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate. Personally, I'm curious to see how he does, George, just because of what you said about the Tour. Like, he doesn't have to do a lot of preparation for this. I was surprised he didn't do San Sebastian. Like, after the Tour, I thought, like, oh, well, that's San Sebastian right there. Like, he's going to win that easy. Didn't do it. You'd imagine because he wanted to be at his best for this Vuelta. This isn't outcomes, but I'm going to throw a name out there that no one is talking about. And people have completely forgotten about this guy, Theo Gegenhardt. Like, what's his status, Johan?
He's not great right now. He crashed in Burgos. He had COVID. And of course, he's a Grand Tour winner. He's young. He'll respond, but he's not coming in with a ton of confidence right now. I actually just spoke to him before the show, so I'm hoping he comes around because he's got the engine for sure. But he's had a rough lead into the Vuelta.
He's had a rough season altogether. Just also was out with COVID before the Tour.
Yep.
And he crashed heavily in the Dauphiné. So yeah, I mean, he did. I think we have to just give him his time, and he needs to ride himself into the Vuelta. Listen, that's the way he won the Giro. Who would have thought that Theo Gegenhardt would have won the Giro in the first half of that Giro? Nobody was speaking about him. So the Vuelta is special. We have to consider him, but he doesn't start as one of the favorites in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually remember a podcast. Abby Mickey said, like, first week of that Giro, she was like, you know who I think is going to win this race? Theo Gegenhardt. Like, what is she talking about? Like, there's no way. And then he wins it. He has had a terrible season, just terrible luck. Like, been great. And I think about even the Giro last year looked amazing. I thought he might even win that thing. Crashes out, breaks his hip. So really feel bad for him. Here's another name. I guess another name and then a bigger question. Isaac Del Toro on UAE. What do you think he's capable of? And how does UAE make this work? Is this just like throw the marbles out there and it's like, let's see what happens? Or do they come in with an actual plan?
I mean, I'm curious to see Del Toro. This is a great test for him to see what his possibilities are. I'm a bit worried about the UAE strategy. I mean, they're quite famous by now. when Pogacar's not there, it's a bit all over the place. So we have to see also, a guy like Adam Yates, even Almeida, I mean, let's see how, they both were top in the Tour of Switzerland and top in the Tour. To pronounce that, to pull that over to the Vuelta, that's a big ask in my opinion. One of those two, is not going to be, you would say, if you look at the course, this is Adam Yates' favorite terrain, steep climbs. The thing is, how have they been between the Tour and the Vuelta? With all due respect, the Vuelta is the third most considered Grand Tour. It's the Tour first, the Giro is second, and the Vuelta is third. So, we'll see how motivated they are. But I'm also curious to see, who I'm curious to see also is Jay Vine. Jay Vine won the time trial in Burgos, was the biggest victim of the crash in the Tour of the Basque Country, was out with severe injuries, several broken vertebrae. Like I think he was at least a month in the hospital in intensive care. And Tour of Burgos was his first race back. So he's done great in the Vuelta before. I think he won like 2 or 3 mountain stages at one point when he was still on Alpecin.
Yeah.
I think it was the year that Remco won the Vuelta.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyway, we're not going to consider Jay Vine as a candidate to win, but they have an incredibly strong team. If you look at Adam Yates, Almeida, McNulty, Del Toro, Jay Vine, Marc Soler, Sivakov, and Baronchini. Let's see how they can put order in the chaos that they usually have within the team.
The thing that concerns me the most is all these guys. I love this team. I love all these guys, but they all tend to have a wobble or even, maybe dysfunction. Like Joao Almeida, you would not say that guy's bulletproof in Grand Tours. Like, he usually has some sort of, even in the Pyrenees, if you remember the tour, like off the back at the start of the climb. Oh, and then he's coming back and he's finishing third and fourth on the stage. Like, if that's fine if you're going for fourth and fifth, but if you're going for a win, people are going to exploit that. If you're always at the back at a critical point, like they'll try to gap you off. And then like Adam Yates, like, he kind of has wobbles at times. And you look at like Marc Soler, it's just like, what's going to happen? Like, I kind of worry about Ineos disease. Like, do they have 9 leaders they've brought to this race and they're just going to see what happens? But it is a really strong team. I do think Red Bull is the strongest team at the race. Like, the leaders we mentioned, Martinez, Vlasov, and Roglič, but then even like Florian Lipowitz, like people forgot about him, but that guy's so strong. Or Patrick Gamper or Nico Denz, like some really big engines. Like, they might be able to control the race from the peloton, or like, oh, now Martinez is in the breakaway. What are you going to do? UAE, you're going to chase that? Visma, you're going to chase that? So it's going to be tough, I think, from a GC perspective for anyone that's not on Red Bull Bora. But also, speaking of bulletproof riders, you would not say Primož Roglič, like, oh, this guy never crashes. He never has a problem. So there could be doors opening. And maybe we are talking, maybe this is how Sepp Kuss repeats. It's just UAE, not a defined plan, has some problems. Red Bull, Roglič crashes. Martinez has a bad day. Vlasov's not recovered from his tour crash. And then you have Mikel Landa was so good at the tour. He's not recovered. Same thing with Yates. Same thing with Almeida. And then Sepp Kuss is winning. So you guys maybe have talked me into Sepp Kuss having a chance here.
Yeah, I think we should do a little business and then talk about the Americans in the race. I think it's we got a solid core group of Americans. But you want to go first, Spencer? You want me to go first?
Yeah, well, let's do a little business, to quote Lance Armstrong. But I want to talk about AG1, and it really fits in your daily morning routine. Morning routines are critical to me, especially as I've been traveling a lot the last few months. And my one constant throughout all this travels are my AG1. I drink it every morning, right when I wake up, before my morning coffee. It makes me feel ready to take on my day. And I'm doing something good for my body. And as Lance talks about, I'm also not fantastic at eating greens as I should be, especially when I'm traveling. When I'm traveling, I revert back to like an 8-year-old's diet. I just take in whatever looks good, whatever I want, and I really leave out the greens that I should be having. So AG1, just being able to, they have the travel packs you can take around all over the world. And it's the one, wherever you are, it's the one constant. Every morning I wake up, I pop that in to a little glass, mix it, have it, and I feel fantastic. AG1 posts results from all their studies on their website, so you can go on and see how it helps your focus and energy. And after 60 days, 91% of users in a research study noticed that they needed less coffee, which is a big thing for me. I lean on coffee a lot, especially when I'm traveling. So I can't recommend it enough. It really keeps me on top of my greens, the things that I should be having. And if there's one product I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1. And that's why we've partnered with them for so long. It's really easy to get started. If there's one product I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1. And that's why we've partnered with them for so long. It's easy and satisfying to start your journey with AG1. Try it now and get one free 1-year supply of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/themove. That's drinkag1.com/themove. Check it out now.
Yeah, the show's also brought to you by Ketone IQ. They've been our partners throughout the Tour de France. It's my go-to. I have the new peach flavor with caffeine here. Love it. The flavor is a lot better. I got the OG original formula. This is just part of my daily routine, either going for a bike ride, going to the gym. If I'm feeling like crap, just waking up in the morning and replace it with my coffee sometimes. Ketone IQ delivers clean fuel that crosses the blood-brain barrier, supplying your brain and body with sustained energy, mental focus, and sharpness, putting you in the flow that lasts for hours. They partnered with Visma Lisa Bike, which are now the favorites for the Vuelta de España. Riders take the Ketone IQ throughout the entire stage, and they've been working with them on research and study with KU Leuven on how ketones improve performance and recovery. Go to ketone.com/TheMove for 30% off your first sub order and a free 6-pack when you use the link.
So George, you mentioned the Americans, but before we do that, should we talk about something we don't really have at this race? Sprint stages. There's not, like, I've counted 12 mountain stages, 2 flat-ish stages, 5 hilly stages, and then 2 time trials. But almost because there's so few of them and there's so few sprinters here, because a sprinter would look at this route and say, there's no way I'm going. That's silly. But it's almost made it more exciting because you have Wout van Aert, who's going to try to win probably every bunch sprint there is. And then you also have Caden Groves, who's very good at getting over hard terrain and contesting sprints. And then there's a guy Johan called out who I had never heard of before, maybe a month ago, Pavel Bittner on DSM. He could be like, he's another light, fast guy that could be good here. But then you also have, he won
the 2 bunch sprints in the Tour of Burgos.
Yeah, which is actually very good
fast
for this.
Like
winning out of fatigue groups. And then you have like Riley Sheehan on Israel Premier Tech American. I talked to him a few months ago and he was not, maybe thinking that a stage race with 9 summit finishes was amazing for him. But I actually think he could do pretty well here. But how do you guys think these, I guess not, we shouldn't say bunch sprints, but days contested from some sort of group will play out?
Well, I think this is going to be really important for Wout van Aert. I mean, he's been knocking on the door all season. He's a winner. He hates getting second. He hates getting third, and he got a bunch of those this year. Obviously, recovering from a huge crash in the Spring Classics. I think this is a really important race for Wout van Aert to try to get a couple W's before the end of the season, and the whole team's going to be behind that, as well as protecting Sepp Kuss. So it's going to be, I think, hard to beat a guy like Wout van Aert in some of these sprint races.
I think George, you're right. I mean, if you see how close he was in some of the bunch sprints in the Tour against the best sprinters in the world, and none of those best sprinters in the world are here. This is Wout van Aert's terrain. I think he goes for multiple stages. He's hungry. He's shown he's in good shape. Bronze medal in the Olympic time trial. And this was one of his goals. He's talked about this since the beginning of the season, because let's not forget, initially, Wout van Aert was not planned to do the Tour de France. He was doing the Giro and the Vuelta. And I just read an interview of him, and he says, he's going full gas for stage wins, doesn't think about anything else, doesn't think about the Worlds or anything because it's super hard. So I think we're going to see a Wout van Aert festival in this Tour of Spain in terms of stage victories. And in my opinion, it's a bit different because I would have to check how the point system works. Usually the point system, the points jersey is won by one of the GC guys. But Wout van Aert could be a serious candidate for the points jersey in this Tour of Spain too.
And Spencer, you mentioned Riley Sheehan, who has just had in my opinion, just a really cool, unique rise into the pro peloton. I mean, he was a couple of years ago. He was on the NCL league doing criteriums in the United States.
It was last year.
Yeah, I feel like it was last year. Then all of a sudden he wins Paris Tours. He comes from a family of cycling, and it's just, I love this guy's story, and I'm excited about how far he's come. And yeah, I mean, you win a race like Paris Tours, you can win a stage in the Tour of Spain, and I'm hoping he's firing on all pistons and he can get a stage win. But certainly, him doing a Grand Tour and getting that underneath his belt is going to make him even better. And I think that's the first priority is just getting that experience of a Grand Tour. And we're going to be hearing a lot more from this kid in the future.
We're watching the Arctic Tour of Norway with my son. He was observing Uno X's lead out, 4 years old. And he asked, why doesn't Wout's team do that? And that's my question for you guys. Is Visma, and I told him I would tell someone at Visma to try to lead out Wout van Aert. So this is my plea. But do you guys think he's going to have any support in these sprints?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they have a strong team, but it's not a team of climbers. There's Van Baarle there, and there's Affini, and there's some really big engines.
Yeah, there isn't that many sprinters. There isn't just dedicated sprint teams, and these guys on Visma Lease Bike know what to do. A guy like Dylan Van Barlo, I mean, he's won Paris-Roubaix. The guy can position better than anybody, and really just and he's got a chip on his shoulders. He missed the Tour de France, so he's going to want to do a great job for the team.
And then as outside of Riley on Israel Premier Tech, this is kind of like our de facto American team now. Someone I'm really curious to watch is Matthew Riccatello. I mean, we're all biased because we know his family, but judging from how he did at Tour of Switzerland, and then I was even interrogating someone at the team about why he didn't do the Tour. They thought the roads maybe wouldn't, the style of racing in the roads wouldn't be great for him. They think the roads are bigger in Spain, the style of racing better, going to get him to the bottom of the climb with more to give, basically. But he was legitimately good at the Tour of Switzerland. He was beating like serious team leaders on these summit finishes, and you almost could not dream up a better Grand Tour for Matthew Riccatello. Leaving him out of the Tour team now makes a lot of sense to me than this Vuelta España. So I'm really curious to see how he does. I think he could finish pretty high up in the GC.
Yeah, he's going to be great. He's going to be great. This type of racing is ideal for him. Tour of Spain, by definition, it's for mountain goats. It's for mountain goats. They literally sometimes go up asphalt goat paths.
Yeah, literally.
So I think this is great. This is great for Mathieu.
And aside from occasional crosswind days, I mean, the roads are generally very good, big roads. So positioning isn't quite the huge factor as it is in the Giro and the Tour de France. Lots of times they're on big roads, and they can just kind of, even if they don't start in the first 10 on the climbs, they can sort of work their way up. So positioning is not as important or as crucial in the Vuelta as it is in the other Grand Tours.
And do you guys think Brandon McNulty, just the other American, is going to get any freedom here? Is he just on teammate duty? And then also, what's going on with the weird thing about Brandon McNulty is I could almost see him moving teams because he doesn't really seem to get a lot of opportunities at UAE. He doesn't seem to fit in. But UAE, it's like, who they need? They need a rider like Brandon McNulty. Like he would have been great for them at the Tour.
I cannot understand, Spencer, why Brandon McNulty was not in the Tour de France team. It's just, I mean, he would have been ideal. Anyway, Tour is gone now.
Didn't we hear that the reason they didn't bring Brandon McNulty was because they have so much confidence in him that they want to see how he shines in a Grand Tour on his own. So hopefully that's the case. But we just mentioned earlier, it's going to be tough to differentiate himself from those other guys.
I hope we see that. It could also be, a nice excuse to kind of say, okay, you know what, you're going to the Tour, you get your own chance. And then we see in the Vuelta that, it's late on the season and other guys want to go for it. But yeah, I think McNulty will do a good, it's going to depend on how one of those guys, Almeida and Adam Yates is, if one of those guys is really strong, then they may, dedicate the whole team to him. Yeah.
But let's think. I mean, McNulty, if he's on that form, he's probably better time trialist than most of the guys than all the guys on that team, with the exception of Almeida. He can do a good time trial as well, and obviously can climb with the best in the world as well as we've seen in the past Tour de France. So I like his position. I like the way he's starting the Vuelta, and I hope he can really shine throughout these next 3 weeks.
That'd be amazing if we saw, for the second year in a row, an American on a stacked team somehow weasel his way into team leadership. It's not impossible, actually, George, as you described that. I think he's just as good as Matteo Jorgensen, but just not in the same situation to kind of highlight his talents as Matteo is at Visma. One thing before we go that I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on. So Sepp Kuss came to this race, as I just mentioned, kind of buried on a roster of the best GC guys in the world. You look at that Visma roster this year, you'd really say the only other serious GC rider is probably Uta Brooks. Is that how's that going to be for him?
Yeah. But I don't think Uta Brooks is a podium candidate.
I don't think so either.
I mean, he's, in my opinion, he's a strong rider, but I haven't seen the progress that everybody expected. Everybody saw, okay, he's leaving Bora and going to Visma. He's going to make this huge step. He hasn't made that step. So I think we have to consider Sepp Kuss as the sole leader of the team. And Uiterbroeks, I mean, I read an interview of their director, and he said, he has the freedom to go for top 10. But if Sepp Kuss gets into a situation where he takes the lead, it's the whole team for Sepp Kuss.
That's kind of new territory for Sepp Kuss. That would be the one thing I'm most curious to see is how does he react now that it's all on him? I mean, because remember, he got a big lead last year because he got into a breakaway and everyone was staring at his two teammates who then were staring at Soudal Quickstep with Remco Evenepoel, and then he racked up a bunch of time that way. I cannot imagine that's going to happen again. So if he wins this again, he's going to have to do it in a much more straightforward way.
Yeah, agreed. But it's exciting to watch how he'll react as being the sole team leader, as we mentioned earlier on in the show. And it's a great thing for American cycling. We haven't had an American GC leader and starting a Grand Tour in a long time. So it's exciting to witness.
I agree. Do you guys have anything else? Any other things in your hip pocket that you're looking forward to at this Vuelta?
I do, Spencer, but I'm saving it for outcomes.
All right. Yeah. Because I'm doing outcomes right after this.
All right.
One thing actually I'm just curious about or a little worried about is the heat, Johan. This first week, so in the second and third weeks, they kind of go, they migrate up to the north where it is much cooler. This is a hot first week. So you're in Portugal, pretty hot. And then they go down to Granada. So Mountain Stage 9, finishing in Granada. That's going to be like hot, like mid 30s.
Super hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So high 30s.
It's like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So that is something to watch out for in this first week. Definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be hot in Portugal. It's going to be hot in Portugal, and it's going to be hot the whole first week. So that's definitely going to be a factor.
All right. Well, thank you guys. And we will be back the first rest day, I believe, in just a little over a week to discuss what's happened. But I'm really looking forward to this race, and I'm excited to watch how it unfolds over the next 3 weeks. And we will talk to you soon.